record. Hey guys, June 24th, not a minute past 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on a Tuesday. It's WULFF DEN Podcast night. And how are you?
Hey, all right, look at that. First try.
And we've been great.
First try, yeah.
We've been great this whole time.
Sweet, yeah.
I forgot to plug in the Ethernet cable.
As you do.
But you know what that means? That means we've been streaming off of Wi-Fi for months. And you know what? All things considered, pretty damn good Wi-Fi if you consider that. Welcome. Anyway, we're getting right into it because we got it very late now. But we'll give a special thanks to some of you, like Gringar, with 3 months. Normally I watch on YouTube, but had to come and give you some Bezos coin. Well, I appreciate it. If you have Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch account. Then you get ads. You don't have to have ads when you watch the podcast.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it just gives us $3.
Yeah.
Majin Jameson, thanks for the 36 months. Scratty, thanks for the Prime. Strong One, thanks for the 10 months. Mega Man, thanks for the 45 months. Happy sub day. Oh my God, thank you.
Thank you.
And now on YouTube, if they're even still watching, Caleb Boyd with the $5. Hey, Wolf Bros, working overtime and appreciate the content while I'm chipping away. Thank you for choosing us. Oh boy. Anyway, let's get right into it.
Yes.
Main topic of the show, I want to talk about why third-party devs are struggling on the Switch 2.
Third-party games have reportedly struggled to sell on the Nintendo Switch 2 at launch. While the Switch 2 hardware has enjoyed record-breaking launch sales, some third-party publishers have reportedly found that the console's success hasn't translated to a thriving third-party market yet. In a new report from the game business, it's claimed that, other than CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk, most third-party games have struggled to sell on the Switch 2. Most third-party Switch 2 games posted very low numbers, the report reads. One third-party publisher characterized the numbers as below our lowest estimates despite strong hardware sales. According to the report, 62% of Switch 2 physical game sales in the US during the console's launch week came from first-party titles. This excludes the Mario Kart bundle, which accounted for the vast majority of console sales in the region. There are numerous potential reasons for a relatively slow start to third-party games on Switch 2. The high attach rate for Mario Kart World implies that a lot of players are happy enough to play that game for now and explore the rest of the lineup once they've done with Mario Kart.
God bless you.
The Switch 2's backwards compatibility also means that players have a number of other games they can play at launch. The lack of media reviews for third-party Switch games and the resistance by some players to accept game keycard format could have also contributed to low third-party launch sales. The majority of third-party Switch 2 launch titles were also ports of games that have been released earlier on other consoles, meaning it's likely that players who wanted those games had already found ways to buy them by now.
So, I mean, I don't think this is much of a story. Like, Switch 2 sold a bunch, but there's not a lot of... it sold a lot for a system that just came out, but it did just come out, and not a lot of people have it yet. And everyone's buying Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
People aren't necessarily buying all these third parties, especially if the third parties are old games that have been out on other consoles.
Yeah, I think the article does touch upon that, like, you know, for the most part, these are older games that they're porting over, or they're games that you can get on other systems. So, like, you've either played these games already, or you're not interested in them.
I wouldn't say so. Last Colossi in the chat says, this is good news, means third parties will hesitate when thinking about releasing their games on game keycards. And I think they're bringing that up because Cyberpunk seems to be doing pretty decent.
But I don't know if
Cyberpunk is not on a game key card.
But I don't know if, like, Cyberpunk being on cart instead of a game key card is the reason why that game is successful on Switch 2.
I agree. I don't think people even give the game keycards a second thought. I would prefer them not to be on the game keycard, but these days I think most people just do not care. People are in Target and they're not looking at, is this on a keycard?
I think the reason why Cyberpunk is selling so well is because like that was like made more of like a marquee title for the Switch too. You know, it's I mean, yes, it's available on PC and it's an older game, but like they like push that as like a real technical showcase of the system. You know, in the same way like Gran Turismo would be a technical showcase of a PlayStation system.
It was the third-party game to get. Yeah. And I got it. I have it already on 2 other systems. There's a reason why I didn't get like Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Like I have that, but I didn't get that because Cyberpunk is like the technical marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
Other people were complaining, like, I saw, like, you know, I've seen this article be floated around a couple of times, and one of the main photos people use is Sonic Shadow Generations, which supposedly didn't sell that well. They make you, like, they have, like, they don't have, like, it's a Switch 2 version, and you have to buy the full game.
Yeah, you have to buy the entire game again. There's no, like,
there's no upgrade
path.
Yeah, which is why people are very upset, because the game exists on Switch 1.
Yeah.
Now the Switch 2 version...
it's just a whole other game.
Also, the Switch 1 version notoriously runs like ass.
Right.
So, them making you buy all $60, $70 game... just to get the Switch 2 version. People are already salty about that. And a lot of people already have the Switch 1 version.
Yeah.
So if they allow it an upgrade path, then maybe.
Yeah.
I understand some games, like Hogwarts Legacy is like a huge overhaul between the Switch 1 and Switch 2 versions, but even they have it.
That's just a $10 upgrade.
Yeah, they have an upgrade. Yeah. So seems like bullshit to me. Like this is why some of these developers are struggling. It's not necessarily because like the Switch is bad or people don't want to buy these games. It's just that they probably already have the game. And there's also just not a lot of third parties making like exclusive games for the Switch 2 or not a lot of third parties releasing new games right now.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing, because like once the system is out and people have had it, and like, you know, Black Ops 7, when that comes out, it'll be released on Xbox and PlayStation and Switch 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
So that will be the real test of, you know, how well third parties are doing on the system.
That will be crazy. Yeah. That'll be really interesting to see where people opt to play their game.
Yeah.
I imagine the Switch 2 version of that game is going to be garbage. Call of Duty always has problems at launch. And I mean, not as much as some other companies, but I could see the Switch 2 version being an absolute disaster.
I think also, too, this article, like, the whole idea of third-party games not selling well on Switch 2 at launch, third parties have generally like never sold as well on Nintendo systems as they have on other platforms.
Right.
Like with the Nintendo console, it's always the Nintendo games that sell the most, and then third parties either, you know, do well or struggle depending on, you know, the system. You know, I think for Switch there was a good balance. Like obviously third party developers saw enough sales momentum on the Switch to keep releasing games for it.
Yeah, third parties were very hesitant for the Switch at first because the Wii U was such a disaster, and they didn't. It took a really long time, and then third party developers or third party publishers, we should say, were praised for putting their games on the Switch 1. Now everyone knows that's like where the money's at, and everybody's got a Switch 1, and having a game there is a really good idea. So, carrying that over to the Switch 2, I think that publishers know that there's a reason to put the game there, but it's still one of those stigmas where like the Wii generation, we felt like the Wii version of games were the shittier versions of games.
Yes.
That carried over. That stigma carried to the Wii U, even though it was a little more powerful. It felt like the Wii U versions were the shittier versions of games. And then that carried over to the Switch, and now the Switch 2. The Switch 2 is going to have some pretty great versions of games, like Cyberpunk's a pretty great version of Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But it's because of things like the mouse controls and the motion controls and stuff like that. Compared to, like, the Steam Deck version of Cyberpunk, like, it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
But you're comparing this version of Cyberpunk on the Switch 2 to, like, a PlayStation 5, probably not
right.
really the best place to play it on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Because the PS5 is going to be a lot better. You just can't take a PS5 with you. You can take a Switch 2 with you.
Mm-hmm.
So the Switch 2 is going to also have sometimes the shittier version of the game. But the difference is now we're getting like PC handheld levels of like playability. Like I still prefer to take a little bit of hit of performance if I have the if I could take the game with me. So I'm willing to take a little bit of a performance hit. And I think other people will too. But if we continue to do like these analysis of games with like lower frame rates on the Switch 2 compared to like a PlayStation 5, I mean, if you're into that shit, then you might have a problem. But otherwise, I mean, I'm gonna still keep buying games on Steam though, because
of the convenience.
Because of the convenience. That's where my games are, and I gotta be honest. I've had the Switch 2 for what? It's been 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I've been playing my friggin' PC handhelds. I haven't been playing anything on the Switch.
Again, like you're an extreme case because you're like,
because I have everything.
I have everything. Yeah, you know, the average person is only gonna have like 1 or 2 systems.
I know. So it's like cool to see other people experience what I've had the privilege of experiencing with all these other PC handles. The difference is that this is like a really thin and really sleek and nice PC handle.
Yeah.
But all things considered, it's kind of just getting a similar performance as a lot of these other PC handhelds that I've gotten to try at a fraction of the cost. But again, I have the privilege of having these expensive handhelds. It's just, I like those because of the convenience of having everything on Steam. All my games are just there. So who knows what'll happen in the future? I mean, originally I never saw myself switching things over from Switch to Steam, and then I did. So maybe I'll end up switching back. Who knows? Anyway, there's an article here about Sega leaking their sales numbers.
Yes.
Does this have Switch 2 sales numbers?
I think it's just general sales. I don't think it's like, I don't think it breaks it down.
Well, let's just talk about it anyway.
Sega has accidentally revealed the sales numbers of many of its major releases, including games like a Dragon, Sonic, and the Persona series. Sales numbers were included in a recent presentation document uploaded to Sega Sammy's investor relations website. A table of sales numbers was found to be hidden in one of the slides of the presentation. According to the document, Persona 5 Royal has sold over 7 million units. Sonic Frontiers sold 4.5 million units. And the recent Yakuza titles, Infinite Wealth and Like a Dragon, have shifted 1.66 million and 2.86 million copies, respectively.
I'm honestly very impressed with Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah.
I thought it did decent, but like 4.5 million is like a lot for a Sonic game, a modern Sonic game, especially one that really isn't that great. Sonic Superstars is ass. That game sucks ass. And another 2.5 mil is not bad.
Yeah.
Especially for a
2D
side-scrolling game. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like all these titles, Team Sonic Racing, 3.5 million copies.
This is a lot.
For a not Mario Kart game? Like that's good. Persona 3 Reloaded, a remake of an old ass game, 2 million copies.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I've always thought that Sega was struggling.
Like they always give off that impression, and like I think the general consensus was they only stay afloat because the pachinko machines like make a lot of money in Japan. But like, nah, man, Sega's fine.
They don't seem to put a lot of effort into their games. I mean, the Atlas does. The Atlas games, yes, absolutely.
I think Atlas helps.
Yeah.
So much so, the article goes on to say Sega was Metacritic's #1 rated publisher of last year. Because of releases of games like Metaphor ReFantazio, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Oh, everybody loved those games.
Metaphor and Shin Megami Tensei are Atlas games.
Yeah. Who made what about Like a Dragon?
That's Sega. That's Sega proper.
That's Sega proper. Yeah. Okay. It's very rare for us to see actual sales numbers like this, especially, I'm assuming this is with digital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we normally never see digital sales. So this is a leak. But that's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see. I thought we were going to see, we don't see Sonic X Shadow Generations on here.
Yeah. Does it say?
I know. I remember hearing somewhere that sales for that were not great on the Switch too.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, people like that game. I didn't really like that game that much. It was a good little, like, quick little. The shadow part was like a quick little. Let's play right through this, but story was stupid. The end level, the last like act was horrible. With that last boss fight was absolutely
horrible. It was. Like, there were parts of that game I really liked, and like I really got into it. But like the end was just like you said, the last level was like ridiculous, and the last boss was not fun.
There was a handful of levels that I thought were really cool, and a lot of them were stupid.
I think also too, like if we're gonna go on a Sonic X Shadow Generation tangent, hopefully this is not a backlog game tonight. You know, I think part of the reasons why I like Sonic Generation so much is because I have like fond memories of those games and those levels.
Yeah,
I have less fond memories of games starring Shadow.
Yeah,
like Shadow the Hedgehog is not a good game. He has a starring segment in Sonic 06. Not a good game. He's a playable character in Sonic Forces. Not a good game. Really, he's been the playable character in one good game.
One arguably good game.
Yeah. If you grew up at the right time, it's a good game.
You had to have played it within like 9 months.
Yes.
And if you played it after that 9 months, the game sucks.
Yes.
But if you hit it right in the right area, it was a great game. Anyway. Shadow the Hedgehog is decent. I've never actually played Shadow the Hedgehog.
No, it's not. It's not good.
Anyway. Atif Faruqi, thanks for the $10. Hi guys, good to catch you live again after so long. Bob, I missed it. If you may have mentioned, but what day and what time will you get too many games? I know this because I just recorded a video.
Yeah, I downloaded the little app that like does the schedule, and I actually saved it, so I know what our stuff is.
Saturday.
Yes.
4:15.
4:15.
4:15. I don't know where.
The Sapphire Stage.
Greater Philadelphia Expo Hall. We will be doing a panel with Nerd Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after that, 5:45.
Yes.
Signing.
At Signing Booth 1.
Say hello. Normally, we like hang around after a panel to like talk to people and stuff, but we're not gonna.
We're gonna just book it to the.
Yeah, we're gonna book it, which is unfortunate. But so get all your Wolf Den done.
Yeah.
On Saturday evening, basically. Now we're gonna be on the Nerd Nest podcast. It's basically a Nerd Nest podcast that we're just on. But we're top billing, and I did that on purpose because I
you pulled weight.
I'm pulling weight. I think here's what. Hopefully they're not listening, but here's what we should do. I'm gonna pitch this to them that it could be just their podcast and we're just on it.
Right.
But we should hit them with a game fact and hit them with the backlog.
Yes.
And then we'll just slot in the backlog next week's episode.
That's a good idea, yeah.
But we'll just like hit them with the backlog. Yeah. And then we'll do it in the middle of their podcast.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of which.
Oh shit. Forgot you could do that.
So yesterday, June 23rd, 2025, was the 10-year anniversary of Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah. Knight?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm old.
According to character designer Albert Filiu, a single character model in Arkham Knight could contain the same amount of polygons used to render the entirety of Arkham Asylum's environment.
Forget how old those games are.
Yeah.
Arkham Asylum is very old.
Arkham Asylum was 2009.
That's insane.
Yes.
I love the design of Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of Arkham Knight. I ended up not liking the game because I didn't like the Batmobile stuff.
I'm seeing a lot of like...
Also, the big twist is like so obvious the whole time.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of like retrospectives on it and like gameplay reviews on it like 10 years later and whatever. And I remember like thinking, I'm like, man, that game actually was like really good. the story is just very bad. And like, because the first two were written with Paul Dini, who wrote Batman the Animated Series, had one of the best runs of Detective Comics in like the 20th century.
Arkham games had very good stories.
Yes. And then this was the first game written without Paul Dini. And you could tell. It's not as good as the other two.
This happens a lot with me in games. I will get very far in a game, almost to the end. This happened with The Last of Us Part 2. I got all the way to the end, and I just completely lost interest. And if I'm losing interest after the climax of the game, that's a huge issue. That means I'm not invested in this story at all. You just gave me a reason to be invested, and I'm like, nah, I don't care.
I'm good.
I was a bullfrog in the chat says, why use so many polygons on a single model? Video games. And they get better, and you get more CPU power and GPU power, and you want to put as many polygons on a thing as possible. Also, that's why Mario doesn't look like he does in Mario 64.
Also, like, this is not part of the game fact, but like, Arkham Knight was designed for the next gen, so PS4 and the Xbox One, whereas the other games were 360 and PS3. So like, they wanted to like push the Unreal 3 engine as far as they could. You know,
the more polygons, the smoother it'll look. Eventually, you hit a law of diminishing returns.
Yes, and like
this was 10 years ago, so we weren't quite there yet.
We'll say though, for a 10-year-old game, still looks very good.
The game looks great.
Yeah,
had a lot of other problems.
Yes.
Game fact.
Yep, that was your. All right.
All right. Let's talk about before we let's get rid of the last two Nintendo ones. Limited Run asks Nintendo to pull. They pulled stuff from the eShop.
Okay.
Limited Run had issues with some of their backwards compatible games.
Yes. Limited Run Games has asked Nintendo to remove the GEX Trilogy from sale via the Switch 2 eShop.
Your autocorrect said get.
Oh, no, GEX. The deep cover gecko, that guy.
And it's not because of the Asian racism.
No. They've asked the GEX Trilogy to remove from the eShop until there's clarity on when a patch will be deployed to address a problem with the game's backwards compatibility. In a statement posted to social media, Limited Run said it did not expect the patch to arrive this week due to delays with its approval, something it linked to yesterday's U.S. public holiday. So in the meantime, the publisher said it had instructed Nintendo to pull the game instead. Limited Run said it had faced Switch 2 backwards compatibility issues with a number of its games originally released on Switch 1, and while a recent Switch 2 firmware update had improved the situation for a majority of its titles, the GEX Trilogy was still impacted. The company had then tried to solve the issue with a patch, and it is this patch that the developer is still waiting to be approved for public release. So Limited Run Games are trying to they're waiting for Nintendo to issue more clarity and statements as to what's going on, why certain games aren't working well with backwards compatibility. Instead of waiting, Limited Run pushed out their own patch to try and fix the issue themselves, but that got delayed into the approval process. So in the meantime, they're just just pull the damn thing until we figure out what's going on.
This reminds me of that one time I had a burrito with Alan Cummings' husband. I was just trying to do a Gex line. That's a true story.
But that is, I was going to say that is a true story.
Happened. Limited Run Games had issues with their backwards compatibility. Apparently, it was we read this on an article once before.
Yeah.
It was one line of code.
Yeah.
That got fucked up, and Nintendo's approval process for their patches is really arduous, and they take a long time to get back to you, and they don't care about publishers at all. So apparently they still haven't approved this one patch. So Limited Run is please just take the game off of the eShop so that nobody buys it and gets upset that it's not working right.
Yeah, which I think, people give Limited Run Games a hard time, justifiably so, for their physical editions either being, printed wrong or just CDRs instead of pressed factory made CDs, or rewriting, cheap Game Boy cartridges for their new games and stuff. But they're trying here with this. They're actively acknowledging that there's a big disconnect between Nintendo and them with regards to like why these games aren't working on their new system.
Yeah, there's I'm seeing a lot of videos like Digital Foundry, Modern Vintage Gamer. People are checking the backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Checking all these different games. Unfortunately, there's like 16,000 games. So like you can't check all of them. But there's a lot that have issues that we really can't foresee. And these poor developers like didn't have a Switch 2 dev kit.
Yeah.
So they couldn't tell what their games would be like using this translation layer. Most games are just fine, even games that claim that they have compatibility issues. Some of the compatibility issues aren't really that big of a deal. But there are some that have little minor issues. I'm hearing I was talking to somebody and they mentioned that there's some scaling issues. Like a lot of games, I think Sea of Stars is one of them. If you play in handheld mode, it's 720p. So the sprites are upscaled to 720p or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you're playing it on the Switch 2, it's upscaled to 720p and then upscaled again to 1080p. So everything looks all weird and blurry in handheld mode. So there's going to be a lot of issues like that are going to take a while. I'm sure Nintendo is backed up with updates that they got to handle, but that's a little bit their fault.
Yeah.
Because they didn't allow a lot of these developers dev kits. And I understand why they didn't, because they didn't want this thing to leak early, but
but
it's
coming back to bite them in the ass now.
Yeah. I think that everybody kind of saw this shit coming. Yeah. Apparently, Animator in the chat, and I think some other people said that the GEX Trilogy did get the update today.
Okay.
So I think everything's good now.
All right. That's good. Because in the meantime, Limited Run Games, you could check out other games that are working fine on the Switch 2, such as Clock Tower Rewind, Jurassic Park Collection, Toomba Collection, River City Girl Zero, Boy and His Blob Collection, Rocket Knight Adventures, Shantae, Bill and Ted's Excellent Retro Collection, Extreme Sports with an X, Trip World DX with an X, Felix the Cat with an X, and Rendering Ranger R2 Rewind. No X.
Ooh. Yeah. Anecdotally, I noticed I have a TikTok that I'm working on for this, but I keep putting it off. Mario Maker 2. It's backwards compatible on the Switch 2. It runs better. And there's a lot of people that make a level, not a lot of people, but some people will make a level that purposely induces lag. You know how in like Mega Man for the NES, there's like lag in some of the levels, and like emulators will emulate that lag because it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Some level designers in Mario Maker 2 will just put a shit ton of springs, and that like makes the game slower.
Okay.
So that doesn't happen as bad on the Switch 2.
Right.
So levels work differently.
Okay.
It's a little interesting, little fun little tidbit. Also, when you play online, I think you only get matched with people who have a Switch 2.
Okay.
Which is another interesting thing because it runs better.
Yeah.
So like maybe that's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, here you go. Backlog! 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 Hey, everybody, it's time for the Backlog. Will!
The Backlog is a segment of the WULFF Den Podcast where we go through our entire video game collection, a collection of over 1,047 games, baby.
Woo!
Bob added his Switch 2 and PC games. We cracked the 1,000 mark. It's 1,047 games. We're going to pick one at random and talk about it regardless of whether or not we've played it.
Yeah, I added all my Switch and Steam Deck and Steam games. I had a lot more Switch games than I thought. Because I thought I added them. Anyway, 584.
584. And that would be Devil May Cry for the PlayStation 2.
The first one?
The first one. The original.
Did I play that?
OG. I played it. Yes, I beat this one. This is the only PlayStation 2 Devil May Cry I beat. Game rules. Game kicks.
Thanks for watching the Backlog. Is this the one that starts off... Yep. Where the motorcycle drives through or no?
I think so. And she like stabs him and then he like pulls the sword out.
Yep. I played this.
Yeah, this game was like an early PS2 staple. A buddy of mine, when he got his PS2, got this and we just like played it for hours. Fun fact, this started off as Resident Evil 4. And then at some point they're like, nah, we can't make this Resident Evil 4. Why don't we make it cool? So,
you can tell.
Oh yeah,
that it's got a little bit of. I mean, around this time, Capcom made a couple of games that were like Resident Evil adjacent, like Onimusha
and Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis, I forgot about Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
and they were all honestly great.
Yeah,
so like it was kind of really cool that they took Resident Evil and went really weird with it.
Yeah,
and then they were like, "This is too weird. We'll just turn it into a different game." I appreciate that.
Yeah, but this game, of course, you star as Dante, the Demon Slayer, the son of Sparta. The story is dumb and nonsensical and anime nonsense, but the gameplay of it it's essentially just like a shoot 'em up with a hack and slash. But it's so fast, so frenetic, so satisfying to pull off that like that alone. And like just the intricacies of like the level design and the art direction of it is just so cool that you just want to like see through it to the end.
Yeah, I remember really liking this. And so it has the Resident Evil style camera angles.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, in this one little room, the camera kind of follows him a little bit, but mostly the camera is like
it's still fixed
on the ceiling somewhere.
It's still fixed.
And you have the tank controls and whatever.
Yeah.
But the combat is like a Bayonetta style, is it not?
Well, yeah. Well, it's Hideki Kamiya.
Okay.
Who created Bayonetta, also created this. Like Bayonetta was essentially a spiritual successor to this.
So, do we have a Devil May Cry collection?
Yeah, we had the box set that included all 3 games.
Okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah.
I played the first game with the intention of playing all of them.
Yeah.
And then I didn't make it through the first game. It's very good, but I didn't make it. We got it like way later.
Yeah. I mean, not that you had this problem, but like Devil May Cry also notorious challenging game. Yeah. Like known for its difficulty.
I mean, I didn't make it that far, so
right.
That was my issue.
But like, I don't know if this was because I beat it, and I'm not good at video games, so like I don't know if this was necessarily that hard. Or like maybe like I was good at video games at the time.
I think they get harder. Like
they definitely.
I
get
remember
harder.
hearing 3 was pretty difficult.
3 is so hard. You have to unlock easy mode.
Yeah, I remember 3 being like people were complaining about.
Yeah, but yeah, this game I don't remember being necessarily that challenging. It's still challenging, but it's a workable challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying. This guy. Oh, there we go. Finally, some combat.
Yeah, it's still like you said, a Resident Evil adjacent game. So there's a lot of like exploration and puzzle solving. And I think the later games in the series realize like that's not why people are playing Devil May Cry. They're playing it for the cool combat and Dante, who's a real nerd and a dork, but like he kind of kicks ass in a fun way. So,
but that's part of why I like the Resident Evil games, and also like games like Metal Gear. Like I like the weird campiness, to it.
Oh, this game has it in spades. Yeah.
So how can you get this right now?
I believe it's available on all platforms. I know GOG added it to their like preservation library recently. So like if it ever gets pulled from stores or whatever, they still have a copy of it. But I don't think it will, because like the series is very popular right now still. The anime on Netflix, which is very good, by the way, has like bolstered its profile, and like the most recent game in the series sold like 10 million copies. A lot of that after the anime came out.
Okay.
So
this guy always gets stabbed.
Yeah.
Just keeps getting stabbed.
Yeah.
So this is the only game that you played of the series?
No, I've played the original 3 PlayStation games. I only beat this one.
Okay.
I've also played DMC, like the controversial reboot that Ninja Theory made.
I know people were upset with how he looks.
Yeah.
But I think that it was generally well received by people who played it.
The game that game is a very good game.
Yeah.
And it's not that like dissimilar from like ultimately what Devil May Cry is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just think like it was a shock to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like initially.
So if you wanted to get into Devil May Cry, should you start with this one or should you play the newer one or what?
I haven't played 5 yet. I want to play 5. It looks awesome. I would say like there's no harm in going back to the original play. But like maybe try 5 first to see how you like it and then go back. Because like the old ones are going to be janky and like PlayStation 2-y in a way. You know, that may not appeal to you, and that's fine.
Maybe it's time for Resident Evil 4 style remake.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Backlog. We're going to continue our podcast now. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Anyway, the last week there was the Donkey Kong Bananza.
Yes.
I watched it.
I did not.
So I started off, I was like, I kind of don't want to see it because I don't need to know that much about the game. Like, just give me the game.
Right.
Like, I'm going to play it no matter what. At first I was watching it and I was like, I don't want to see this. And then I was like, you know what? This look kind of cool. I'm a little more excited for it. It turns out the game is just Mario Odyssey. Like, we knew that it was gonna be
Odyssey inspired.
Yeah, but it looks like identical to Mario Odyssey, which is fine. I liked Odyssey.
So they had a direct all about Donkey Kong Bonanza coming to Switch 2 next month, I think.
Yeah, July.
Okay.
I think it's only like 2 weeks away.
Yeah. So I think the big reveal and the one that got everybody excited was Pauline is in it. And she's apparently 13 years old. And she is your sidekick. She's your companion for the game.
There was a little leak of this.
Yes.
But yes, she is your Cappy.
Yeah.
She like shoots music notes out of her face.
Yes. So apparently there was like talk about like, so does this make this game a prequel to Mario Odyssey then? Because Pauline is an adult mayor in that game. And I think Nintendo's official response was, don't worry about it.
So it is pretty clear that there is no timeline like at all. With Donkey Kong specifically, there's nothing. Like there's like rumors that like Cranky Kong.
Well, yeah, no, I think Cranky Kong is officially, canonically, the original Donkey Kong from 1980.
Right.
But, like, that's it.
And you save Pauline.
Right.
In it. Mario saves Pauline.
Yes.
However, Pauline's a kid here.
Yeah.
Cranky Kong is in this game.
Yes.
So this game follows no timeline at all.
Yeah.
And you know what I'd argue? There's no I'd argue there's no Zelda timeline either. Because that fucking official timeline makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I honestly think they made the official timeline because like people were making their own timelines and Nintendo was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, but like that doesn't really some of the games like make a little bit of sense, but for the most part,
well, I think that's why they split it into 3 timelines after Ocarina, because like nobody was expecting that, and that was Nintendo's way of shutting people up.
Yeah. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of weird YouTube videos, but for the most part, there's no timeline.
Yeah. We got to see some of Donkey Kong's skills. He can punch, he can dive punch, he can roll forward, he does the hand slap, he can swing, and he can make music. Pauline makes music to help guide him on his journey. We got Cranky Kong and Rambi are going to be in the game, characters from the Donkey Kong Country series. Donkey Kong.
Who the fuck is Rambi?
The ram, the rhinoceros he rides.
Oh, yeah. Rambi.
Yes. Transformations. Donkey Kong can transform into several different creatures with different abilities. You got the Kong Bonanza is a high-powered transformation for smashing through surroundings with ease. The Zebra Bonanza transforms him into a zebra and to give him a speed boost. And the Ostrich Bonanza gets some airtime with this flying transformation and drop egg bombs on your foes.
I kind of wish they didn't show us that. Like, maybe show us, like, hopefully there's a lot more.
Yeah.
But they showed us 3.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully there's more that we don't know about.
Yeah.
But like, I'd rather not. I'd rather be a little more surprised by that stuff.
We got our introduction to the main villains of the game, the Void Company, consisting of Grumpy Kong, Poppy Kong, and Void Kong. The crew responsible for stealing all of Donkey Kong's bananas before the start of the game.
Never take a monkey's banana.
So if they're Kongs, does this mean they're family?
With him?
Yeah. Or is just any gorilla in this universe just called Kong?
I think that.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, because Kong's like a last name.
Yeah, because like there's Diddy Kong, there's Dixie Kong, there's Funky Kong.
Doesn't he have a girlfriend?
Oh, what the hell was
in the show?
In
right?
the show,
and she's a Kong, is she not?
I think she is a Kong.
And that would be incest. So I don't think Kong is family.
Right. Okay.
Candy Kong.
Candy Kong, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Kong is indicative of a family name. I would say.
All right. Good to know. What else is there? A challenge course. I hate chat so much.
These are the important things I gotta talk about. They mentioned this in the
No, they mentioned challenge course ruins. Those looking for a challenge can hop down into special challenge course ruins. There's skill points you can gain, collectibles you can unlock, like orange shorts.
So this looks exactly like the menu for the outfits in Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
And there's like little stores that you go to just like there is in Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
There's a photo mode.
There's a photo mode. There's co-op. Pass the controller over to a pal and they can play as Pauline in 2-player co-op. The controls look pretty similar to the Mario and Cappy dynamic in Odyssey, with Donkey Kong doing most of the adventuring and Pauline able to help track down some enemies and collectibles. Also, this mode, Pauline's attacks can be controlled in mouse mode on Switch 2. And can even be shared locally to a Switch 1 system using Game Share, although the Switch 1 player won't be able to use mouse mode.
Also, I hear that Game Share runs like ass.
Yeah.
So don't get too excited about
it.
Also, like this mode, I mean, it's the same way with Mario Odyssey. It's a stupid mode. The second player like has no control.
Right.
Like they're just kind of firing off.
Well, that's like the kid brother mode or the child
Tails.
mode. Yeah,
Tails
mode.
Yeah. This one's really cool. DK Artist.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, using the Switch 2 mouse mode, you can carve chunks of stone into just about anything you please before adding paint, lighting, and a whole host of other effects. They showed off models of DK, Bowser, and Mario's heads, as well as a bunch of other insanely detailed items.
Yeah, so you can sculpt your own.
Yeah.
You can sculpt your own whatever in this mode. Yeah, they showed off Mario's head. It looked kind of like the Mario face from Mario 64 that you can kind of play with. This is cool. This is like our own little Mario paint, but it's like a 3D thing. They're really using this as like a tech demo.
Yeah.
And then we got an amiibo and
July 17th is when the amiibo and the game come out.
Okay.
You will be able to scan any amiibo from the Donkey Kong range to summon explosive Kong tiles or any wider amiibo to land you helpful terrain spheres.
So yeah, this game is like the tech demo for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
I'm understanding a little bit why they haven't released this yet, why they're waiting for this.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is probably because the game's not done.
Right.
But this game is high resolution.
Mm-hmm.
The frame rate is not all there, and it can't be because of all of the destructible environments.
Right.
It's not gonna run smooth. But even the demo wasn't running smooth. And like, I mean, they have time to like polish it up a little bit, but I just don't think it will ever be like 60 like smooth.
Right.
I think it's gonna be like 30 and still choppy. I'm hoping that there's a performance mode, but I think it was smart of them. They kind of did a little. It was a little fucked up how they launched the Switch 2, because that little event that we went to.
Yeah.
They gave the only game that was portable. Well, there were two. The only games that were portable were Mario Kart World.
Mm-hmm.
That looked really good because the motion blur of the LCD screen looks good in Mario Kart World because you're moving. And the other game was Zelda, which was a Switch 1 game. So, of course, that looks good.
Yeah.
This game was playable, but it was playable docked. And it looked beautiful, but the frame rate was pretty rough.
Yeah.
But, like, again, it's a pre-release build, so, like, who knows? The game feels a lot like Mario Odyssey. I mean, there is platforming, but there's a little more of a focus in like punching shit and throwing stuff at enemies and destroying the environment and stuff. So I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna look very pretty. I'm hoping that there's a performance mode because I'd rather have regular, like a steady frame rate than 4K. I don't need that in my life. But yeah, I'm excited for it. You know, when like the PS4, you know how we like define each console generation with something, and the PS4, in my opinion, is particle effect.
Yeah.
Switch 2 is finally is Nintendo finally getting to the PS4 generation. Yeah. People say the Switch 2 is similar in power to a PlayStation 4 Pro.
Okay.
And they're like, wow, we can do particle effects.
Yeah.
So there's all destructible environments. There's a million particles around. But when you have a million particles around, it's going to slow some things down.
Yeah.
Anyway, I noticed you didn't mention anything about the Big Dick Bananergy.
No, did not see that.
Yeah, this was in the Direct. You missed it.
No, yeah. Well, again, I didn't watch the Directs.
True.
Yeah.
I have an eagle eye. I noticed. Anyway, Nintendo and Amazon. Kiss.
Yes. Nintendo's new and upcoming Switch 2 games are now available to buy from Amazon for the first time, including Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon Legends ZA, Mario Kart World, Switch 2 editions of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom, and more. Amazon's Nintendo Store page remains out of date, but the game listing signals the end of more than a year-long disagreement that resulted in Amazon removing all first-party Nintendo games and hardware from its inventory. Neither Amazon nor Nintendo has ever commented on what led to the removal of all first-party Nintendo products from sale at the online retail giant. Amazon stopped selling Nintendo Switch games in early 2024. Before long, all of Nintendo's most popular games, official accessories, and even Switch Online subscriptions were removed from sale. This also happened at Walmart around the same time, but Walmart and Nintendo resolved their differences before the holiday season.
I have a prediction.
What?
This week, Switch 2 is on Amazon.
Okay.
My prediction. There's been a shipment of Switch 2s that, like, Walmart announced that they have Switch 2s this week. I think Wednesday or
Best
Thursday.
Buy, I think, also announced.
Best Buy, yes. Yeah. And our cousin, Philip, texted me and said, how can I get a Switch 2? And I was like, you're on your own, buddy. And then the very next day, Wario64 was like, Best Buy has them now! And I sent him that, and he got one.
Our buddy Jake just walked to the Nintendo store and got it.
Oh, do they have them at the Nintendo store?
Yeah, he walked in. He filmed the whole thing on his MetaQuest.
I watched that. I didn't see that he got a Switch 2.
Yeah, no, he sent me the picture afterwards.
Oh, okay. So is it like you have to go in the morning, or did he just walk in?
He just walked in.
It's amazing that they're actually able to stock these things.
Yeah,
because no. This hasn't happened in a long time that a console comes out and people could actually just buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what'll happen this holiday? Maybe it'll get backed up again, but it seems like we're back, baby.
Yeah. There you go.
Anyway, I walked into my local Kroger and bought a Switch 2 on launch with no pre-order. Kroger?
That's a grocery store.
Is that not a grocery store?
That's a grocery store.
Yeah, look, the first thing that comes up is food.
Yeah.
Groceries and pharmacy. Yeah, it's a grocery store. Kroger, where I live, sells everything. That's fucked.
Wow. Electronics, clothes, home.
Home, buy a home.
Yeah. All right.
All right, next, Mario Kart 64 has been ported to PC. So, I guess this is like... Is this a decomp, recomp? I'm trying to... MVG has a video on like, the difference between like a recomp and decomp.
I mean, time extension just says port. The Nintendo 64 Classic Mario Kart 64 is successfully ported to PC under the title Spaghetti Kart. This port is the work of Harbor Masters and Ship of Harkonnen.
Ship of Arcania?
Harkonnen. I believe that's a Dune reference. Dune.
Okay, because the recompilation of Ocarina of Time is called like Ship of Arcania, so maybe it's like an adjacent.
Spaghetti Kart has been made possible by the recent reverse engineering of Mario Kart 64, but it doesn't contain any of the original code. The user has to supply the original ROM for it to work. This project is still a work in progress and has a rare crash for some minority of users, says Harbor Masters. Custom track imports work. However, all features are not yet supported.
I mean, you're not going to see it on stream, but seeing it in 60 frames is nuts.
Yeah. Widescreen too.
Look when it like opened up.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, this is not 60.
Uh-huh.
And then it like goes in, and then you see like the bright colors of Mario 64, the like smooth polygons, and then the smooth frame rate once it actually fucking goes. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Look at how fast the environment is moving around you. That looks crazy, and it's widescreen.
Yeah,
that's cool. This is great that we're getting more PC ports and decompilations and recompilations and stuff. The Mario 64 PC port is sick. I know people really like the Ocarina of Time one. And people are using these sorts of ports to build off of them. Like Mario 64, a lot of mods use like parts from the PC port and then build off of them. So you can have like a normal camera control on top of having like a new level that you can play or something like that. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's how these games survive and persevere and are able to be enjoyed by a later generation.
Griffinix says 3D sprites question mark. They look like the regular old. Look at this. Is it like a level editor or something?
Yeah.
The sprites look like the regular old sprites. However, I think that they look kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think that looks kind of sick. Anyway, yeah. Can you play it?
Yeah. The article had a link to like the assets.
Is it? Oh, download.
Yeah.
Is this something like I can actually play though? Verify your ROM dump. Verify your ROM is in .z64 format. Download Spaghetti Kart. Generate the O2R from the ROM. Okay, and then play.
Yeah.
I think you can actually go forth. In case you don't have Mario Kart World, now you got something to occupy.
Yeah.
Next news: Warner Brothers Games restructures to focus on major franchises.
Yes. Warner Brothers Games has set up new leadership teams for its development, production, and tech operations and restructured into divisions based on its 4 key franchises: Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat, and DC. Per Warner Brothers Discovery, 3 current studio heads have been promoted to roles of senior vice president as part of Warner Brothers Games restructuring. WB Games Montreal is now headed up by Yves Laurence, Laconce, French name, and he is now the senior vice president development, overseeing development team. LaChance.
Yves, does that mean he's related to Yves?
No. The last name, remember, is how you.
I don't know.
All the comms.
Different cultures.
All right, he's the senior vice president of development of WB Montreal. And he's gonna be working on Harry Potter and Game of Thrones games. NetherRealm studio head Sean Himmerich has been promoted to senior VP development, overseeing Mortal Kombat and DC games. And Warner Brothers Games New York studio chief Stephen Flannery has been promoted to senior VP Central Tech and Services, overseeing games and publishing technology, customer service, quality assurance, and user research.
It's still an anagram for felony.
Yes. The change comes on the heels of the January exit of former Warner Brothers Games chief David Haddad. It is currently unclear whether this new structure is in lieu of a permanent replacement for Haddad, or if the company is still actively seeking an overall leader. I mean, Warner Brothers for a long time has been talking about wanting to focus on their core franchises, even like on the movie studio level, on the TV level. And now that's finally trickled down to video gaming. For some reason, like David Zaslav thinks that like the core Warner Brothers franchises are Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and DC, and I guess in gaming, Mortal Kombat. Name one Game of Thrones game that's like,
I can't name it.
Exactly. You know, and the TV show has not been good for a long time. Like, I've heard House of Dragons isn't bad, but like it's not the cultural phenomenon it was at the height of regular.
I've seen something where people don't even rewatch Game of Thrones because the ending was so bad that it ruined the whole rest of the series for them.
So I don't know if Game of Thrones is like a top series you want to rest. I mean, TV is one thing, but like.
I think you can revitalize it, but it has to be really good.
Yeah, Harry Potter, like they had the one good game, and like.
Well, Harry Potter is undeniably huge.
I know, yeah, and transphobic. Mortal Kombat, like
they're working on it.
They're working on it. Mortal Kombat, like that is huge. Like, there's undeniable, like that's probably the biggest thing they got when they bought Midway. But I don't like. You know, Mortal Kombat 1 didn't like really like take off, I think, the way people wanted it to.
I don't think that IP is that valuable. Like, you need NetherRealm to work on it. Imagine giving a Mortal Kombat game to another studio.
Yeah.
I can't see it going well.
I think Mortal Kombat needs to do like what other fighting games do. Put out one game, make it the best version of that game, and just like update it for years until the next generation. That seems to be the model for fighting games these. And I don't know, like I appreciate that Mortal Kombat also focuses heavily on story, but like that's having diminishing returns as well because like the stories are getting worse and worse. In DC, they just mean Batman. We're never going to see that Wonder Woman game. We're never going to get a good Superman game.
I think, the worst part, and one of the biggest blunders that Warner Brothers has. They have all of these great IPs, and they just do not make games with them.
Yeah. Looney Tunes. Like, Looney Tunes is like the best. And like, I think David Zaslav actively hates the Looney Tunes. Like,
there could be some nuts, like really cool, like interesting Looney Tunes games if you give it to a couple of indie devs.
Yeah.
And let them like go wild with it. But really the easiest is just make a couple of single player experiences with some DC heroes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of great things to pull from there.
Yeah. But no, we'll just get Arkham 4, even though Kevin Conroy is gone and you know that story ended. We'll get another Mortal Kombat game that is disappointing. We'll get Hogwarts Legacy 2. And we'll get a shitty Game of Thrones game.
Yeah. There's a lot that they could do, but they just are not.
Yeah.
What Superman game was out for 360 era that was basically free roam and each X, Y, A, B button was a different power
I
for Superman?
I think that's the movie tie-in to Superman Returns.
I was going to say, there are no 360 era Superman games besides the movie tie-in.
Yeah, I think that's the only one. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad you put this here. Xbox app. Oh no, that's not it. The next one. We'll do the next one.
Okay.
Microsoft reveals Xbox MetaQuest. I did want to talk about this.
Yes, this was a today reveal.
Yeah, this was just dropped today, and I was really underwhelmed and confused.
The MetaQuest 3S Xbox edition is real and has been officially revealed by Microsoft starting today. June 24th for $400. The announcement confirms the leaks that took place late last week. The MetaQuest 3 Xbox Edition includes a black and green MetaQuest 3 headset with 128 gigs of storage, matching controllers, a limited edition Xbox wireless controller, Elite Strap, 3 months of Meta Horizon Plus, and 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate. As far as availability is concerned, however, the headset is available at Meta.com, Best Buy, and so on. However, Xbox wants it to be clear that this is a limited edition device. Insider Gaming understands that retailers like Best Buy only receive 2 units per store, meaning if you want it, you'll have to search or get it quicker, or get there quicker than everyone else.
That's crazy. Yeah, very limited. So here's the trailer. I'm playing it on screen. It's just So it's a cool looking MetaQuest.
Yeah.
It's black and got some green accents.
The controller, actually, I think it looks.
Everyone really likes the controller. Yeah. It's, again, black with green accents.
Yeah.
But, and there's no reason why they can't just sell that. I don't know. That's not a Meta. This trailer is 30 seconds long.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of just showing off the hardware. And then there's like 2 seconds of them showing the app. and it's just a 2-dimensional window, like you're watching a video on your MetaQuest. And I thought to myself, like, oh yeah, of course it's that. You can't play Xbox games in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, so then why do we have this?
Well, a while ago they announced an Xbox app for the MetaQuest. And it was just that. It was just like a flat screen.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's totally I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Making a whole
an Xbox branded MetaQuest.
That's weird.
I think this is all part of their everything is an Xbox marketing campaign, where they're just trying to drive home the point that you could have an Xbox experience on everything. And if they sell an explicitly labeled Xbox branded MetaQuest, that'll help drive home the point.
I think it's driving the wrong point home.
That these games are going to be in VR.
Yeah, because PlayStation VR
is actual.
It's an actual VR. Yeah. Like, there's going to be people who buy this expecting it to connect to their Xbox.
Like Halo VR, yeah.
Yeah. And I was trying to formulate a tweet, but I was like, I don't know how to word this. Like you can't use it to play Game Pass games in VR. And it got me looking it up. And there are, according to this random Reddit post, there's some Game Pass games with native VR support, but this is PC Game Pass.
Right.
I don't know what the difference is. I don't know what MetaQuest. I'm assuming it does. Is that PC? Would that do PC?
I'd imagine it's PC Game
Would it be the PC version of Game? I'm not sure. But No Man's Sky, Flight Simulator, Star Wars Squadrons, a couple of other games, Ark Survival Evolved. And then there's an asterisk. Terrible, not recommended. Formula One. There's some games that seem to have native VR support. I don't know how that works. I don't know if that will even work, because this is just an app that's like a little window on your screen. Will it do the head tracking? Will you be able to split screen your eyeballs?
I don't know. You have a MetaQuest, don't you?
I do.
You have the 2.
I have the 2. I don't know what the difference. I guess I could load up the app and see
if it works on the.
See if a game will let me enter VR. But it's just the cloud gaming app for Quest. Yeah. So what does that mean?
Oh, maybe that is the Xbox games running on like a server.
So it's not PC.
So it wouldn't be, but either way, it wouldn't be VR.
Yeah, so you don't, no matter what, you're not getting VR.
Yeah.
That was my concern. And that's baffling to me.
Yeah.
Like that you can load up the Xbox app but on a VR headset, but then you don't get the VR parts of the games.
Right.
That seems like something that shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
You're so close. You got the headset on, you're in the game. There's an option to play VR, but it just doesn't let you connect the dots. No Man's Sky VR without a PC would be nuts. My dream. Having it streamed would be sick.
Yeah.
And like, it's not a big deal that you can't do all of this. I think the big deal is that this says Xbox on it.
Yeah.
It's a headset that says Xbox on it, and it doesn't do Xbox VR.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy that they thought that was a good idea. But it looks cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to find on the MetaQuest store on the browser, like the Game Pass app page, just to see what it says. And I'm not, like, to see what it supports. Does it support the 2 or whatnot? And all I'm seeing is like ads for the Xbox headset.
I'll just have to load it up and try it. But I'd imagine people would be going nuts about this already.
Yeah.
If that was even a possibility. But so I'm assuming that you just cannot.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next news, Microsoft adds Steam games to its Xbox PC app on Windows. That is good news.
Yes, Microsoft is starting to test its new aggregated gaming library in its Xbox PC app on Windows. Xbox insiders will now be able to see their Steam and Battle.net games all within the Xbox app this week, making it a single launcher for most installed PC games. This new consolidated library will roll out to the Xbox app later this year, as well as new devices like the ROG Ally Xbox handhelds. It's part of Microsoft's efforts to make the Xbox app on Windows the home of PC gaming and compete with Steam and SteamOS by combining Windows and Xbox. If you want to try out the new aggregated library in the Xbox app on Windows, you can simply download the Xbox Insider Hub on PC and join the PC gaming preview. You can also manage the visibility of games by hiding any PC storefront in the library and extension section of the Xbox app settings.
We've been waiting for this, and this is another step closer to getting like a good launcher built into Windows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be there yet, but this is a good sign that even their own little Xbox environment might have. I mean, we already think that you're going to be able to play Steam games like on their little Xbox environment. And I think that Xbox environment is just going to be an extension of the app. So them allowing you to put other launchers games in the Xbox app makes me think that you'll be able to do it. Yeah. Kind of like how on SteamOS, the Steam launcher lets you put non-Steam games there. So even on a Steam Deck, you can go into desktop, install a game, and then go back into Steam and see the game there. You'll probably be able to do that in their own little Xbox environment. Things are looking good for what Microsoft is doing with their handheld, and I'm excited for that. I didn't see this coming. More Xbox stuff. Beavis and Butthead.
Yes.
Coming to Call of Duty.
I'm excited for this. Call of Duty's next licensed DLC operators have been announced, and they are none other than Beavis and Butthead from the popular 90s animated show created by Mike Judge. The pair are being added to Black Ops 6 and Warzone as part of the upcoming Season 4 Reloaded update. Based on the current in-game countdown timer, Season 4 Reloaded should begin on June 26th, but that does not necessarily mean that Beavis and Butthead will be available right at launch. Based on the imagery below, Beavis and Butthead are strapped with military gear for their appearance in Call of Duty. However, there is no word yet on further specifics like voice lines, finishing moves, and other items that will presumably be included in the DLC. The TV series Beavis and Butthead premiered in 1993 and ran for 8 seasons. A movie, Beavis and Butthead Do America, came out in 1996. A movie sequel, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, came out in 2020, just ahead of the revival seasons for Paramount Plus in 2022 and 2023. An 11th season is coming this year on Comedy Central, and this may be why the characters are being added to Call of Duty.
I did not know there was a new season.
Yeah.
That and King of the Hill?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a good time to be Mike Judge.
This looks crazy.
This looks so bizarre. Like
I gotta say it, they look like school shooters. Look at them. If you've seen Beavis and Butthead and now you see them in full tactical gear like this looks like that movie, The Elephant or whatever.
Yeah, but no, because if you've actually seen Beavis and Butthead, they would shoot themselves.
They're stupid and dumb, but come on.
Yeah.
Also, there's other characters. There's the coach in the background.
Yeah.
And some other guy. I don't know who that is in the corner over there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I know the Fortnite-ification of games is inevitable and prevalent, but this is the first time I've seen a game just be blatant, and it's we want to be Fortnite with adding.
I don't hate it at all. I know a lot of people are upset about the realism being taken out of Call of Duty, but some of these, I think it's cool. I play as a Gundam,
right,
in Call of Duty,
and
I think that's fucking sick. Even Fortnite, I was playing as Sabrina Carpenter. I think, and I fucking shooting that Peter Griffin. I think it's cool. I think all that shit's cool. Not everything needs to be like that, but I think that given the option, I'd like to be Beavis and Butthead.
At this point, Call of Duty is a farce. And it's
Call of Duty has some of the worst characters in video games. Ghost is cool. That's it.
Yeah.
Because the stories are stupid and nothing's recognizable. Everybody's just a white guy.
Yeah.
So having actual characters that are running around in the world is cool. Anyway, also this isn't an article here, but since we're talking about Xbox and all these positive things Xbox is doing, they're laying off a bunch of people.
Yeah, saw that.
I think this week I've never seen that before. They're announcing they're going to do layoffs.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. Something like 300 people or something. Yeah, which is shitty because it seemed like everything was going great for Xbox.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on at Xbox that we're not really like obviously there's a lot going on that we're not privy to. But
yeah, I mean, some people are seeing this them going off and saying that you can play at Xbox on any platform. Some people are seeing that as them closing down like consoles. I don't see it that way. I think they're just changing a little bit, but I wasn't expecting that to lead to let's fire a bunch of people.
I don't think we're not going to see another Xbox, like a device you plug into a TV. But I think the idea of Xbox has changed so dramatically that you can't really work in that department the way like you did like back in the like that whole division has to be completely like it essentially has to be rebuilt from the ground up, and it needed that like for years.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing it now, obviously to the detriment of like, you know, people's jobs and stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully they can just move some people around.
But
unfortunately, like they're not. With the AMD announcement, it's all but confirmed we have a new console coming at some point. Yeah, no, yeah. I know that's what's in the pipe. But again, it's gonna be like just a computer.
Yeah.
Anyway. Hey, Alien Ant Farm's bummed.
Yeah, and you know what? I am too. Alien Ant Farm has said they being removed from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is a bummer. The band whose song Wish was included in the soundtrack for Tony Hawk 3 won't be included in the upcoming remake collection alongside Tony Hawk 4. Speaking to the BBC, Alien Ant Farm's Terry Corso said, "Is it a bummer that we weren't invited or that they did not include us? Absolutely. We understand that they're trying to bring some new stuff onto these releases, and if you've got to make cuts, you've got to make cuts. I don't know why it had to be us. I feel like our song was really good on there and did really well." Singer Dryden Mitchell added, I kind of get it that skating feels more like punk, and we're not a punk band, but I think that's what makes a cool soundtrack, is being different. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 soundtrack is comprised of songs featured in the original games as well as newer songs. Notable omissions include AC/DC's TNT, which was the opening title track for Tony Hawk 4.
I mean, I really would love for every song to be available.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a big part of these games that not having the original soundtrack on a remake of the game is incredibly disappointing. I do like the idea of them adding new songs.
Well, yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, they had, you know, the original game. They had the original songs, as many as they could get, and they think they got all the original songs minus like 3 because of licensing. And then they had a whole bunch of newer songs on there. Mm-hmm. And the newer songs were great and they fit in really well. But like for this, like only a handful of the songs from the original games are showing up. And Tony Hawk is the one who's taking the blame for it. He flat out said, like, this is my decision. I am curating this playlist. So, and like, I get it. Like, I understand like his mentality of it, but you know, these soundtracks to these games are like an essential part of the games, like more so than a lot of the levels.
I would like to think that it's a licensing thing, that they're like, we only want to license a handful of songs.
No, I don't think this is a license. Because again, if they got everything for the first 2 games, like they could, and now they have Microsoft money, they could do it.
Yeah, I don't see why they would want to limit it. Like, I know Alien Ant Farm would probably be like, put us in there. Like, you know, we don't.
When they announced like the soundtrack was going to be different, I had a list of songs that I said I wanted to be in the game. This is on Blue Sky. And one of the songs was If You Must by Del the Funky Homo Sapien. And Del the Funky Homo Sapien responded to me and said, yes! And thank the Lord, because that song is included in the game.
Thank God. Yes. I thought it wasn't going to.
That song has to be in the game.
God damn.
Yeah. I rap that to my kids when they don't wash their hands.
That is one of the best songs on the soundtrack. I used to turn off the rap.
Yeah.
That was one song that I did not turn off for some reason. You know, I know why, because he was in the Gorillaz song, and I like that song. Anyway, that was a mistake. Do not turn off the rap. All of the rap is very good in Tony Hawk games. Yes. That was a stupid, childish mistake that I made. Anyway, that's all the news. That's everything that we have. Now it's time for this. Okay, maybe not. is from Justin Wang. It is the Kool-Aid Man standing next to Benjamin Franklin. And it says, "Excuse me, sir, aren't you Benjamin Franklin?" And then Benjamin Franklin says, "Yes, I am also hot and thirsty."
That's good.
It was not a good week for Twitter. Anyway, we're talking to you guys now.
Yes, let's start with people who left comments on last week's Wolf Den Podcast over on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wolf Den Podcast.
We got Ty Micken, whatever your name is. "It's crazy that at this point we're as far removed from EA's Battlefront 2 2017 as we were from OG Battlefront 2 2005 when the first EA one was originally revealed at E3 2013. Okay, that was a lot.
Yeah.
Battlefront 1 from EA was 2013.
Was revealed in
2013. We're as far removed from that. We're as far away from that.
Yeah.
As 2013 was from the original Battlefront 2.
So 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years one way, 8 years the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we're old. I don't like it.
Remember Arkham Knight is 10 this year?
Zach says, "Will you guys be picking up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4? Also, you think we will get an Underground remake?"
Here's the problem. As much as I'm upset that the soundtrack is different, yes, I'm going to be picking it up. Like, come on, how can I not?
Get it on Steam.
I'm going to get it on Steam.
Is BAM in it?
BAM is in it.
Okay.
They added BAM.
Then you know what? We're getting an Underground.
Yeah.
For sure. They
Well,
want money.
Tony Hawk has said, like, I will do everything I can to get Underground 1 and 2 remake up. Let's me focus on this one first,
Okay.
which is
sense.
fair.
Haunted Asylum says, "Funny enough, I thought the new Silent Hill F was a new Fatal Frame before the title card showed up. I first went into Silent Hill mode, and then I was like, Fatal Frame, maybe?"
Yeah. Because, like, Fatal Frame, like, that's that aesthetic.
Yeah, but I was like, there's a lot of combat here for Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Pixel Art says, "I also canceled my Game Pass and PS Plus subscription about 3 years ago. Instead, I decided to just put that money towards my Steam library."
Yeah, you can get some cheap ass games on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, I like these subscription services because it allows you to get a bunch of games. It opens the door for a whole ton of games at a very low barrier to entry, like $10 or $20, and you get like 1,000 games immediately.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of very good games.
Mm-hmm.
But we're old and we have huge libraries.
Yeah,
so we don't need that.
Yeah,
really anymore. Rottencraft says, "The comment reply section of this show is always so incredibly painful. Garbage takes galore, random no context questions, and the it takes a level of skill to decipher all that in between misspelled words and zero sentence structure. Just like what you did."
Yeah.
We could just save it for a Patreon. We could just do Q&A only in a Patreon every week.
Yeah.
We do it at the end of the show so that you can just stop listening if you don't want to be a part of the comment and response section. But we do it so we have a way to talk to you people. Also, the no context questions is because we're reading comments from last week.
Yeah.
So, again, stop listening. You don't have to listen to this part of the podcast. Ty McIntrite says, "It's crazy that at this point I read that already. God damn it. I read all of them.
Yes, we're done.
Now we're in regular chat.
Yes. So
we had a lot of problems at the beginning of the episode. I'd like to point out that somehow, I thought I changed this. We're streaming in 1440.
Yeah.
That caused all the issues.
Nice.
Now we're fine, and we're still streaming in 14. I don't know what the fuck the problem is. Only on Twitch, though. YouTube seems to 1080. I don't know. Scott the Sloth with the 200 bits. Fuck that guy who doesn't like the questions. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I try to give context when we read them, but I mean, the fucking keep up. You were on Wi-Fi too? I know, now I'm not. I know. I think that solved everything. Although it doesn't solve my problem in the other room when I'm streaming. When I just try to stream at 1440p, everything breaks. I don't know what the problem is there. It seems like the problem was
just weren't connected.
Maybe I'm not connected there either.
Maybe.
Will, are you salty that Doug Bowser took a picture with Scott the Woz and not you? I wasn't.
Yes.
But now I am.
I will always be salty. Look, I understand. If you're the president of a major video game company, you have a choice between taking a picture with Scott the Woz and my dumbass. Yeah, obviously you're gonna go with Scott the Woz.
Mm-hmm.
So, but one day I will get my picture with Doug Bowser or an equivalent higher up at a video game company.
I don't get salty about stuff like that, but I will tell you that yesterday I did get a little salty.
Yeah.
You know how the guy had that campaign about the crew shutting down, and he has that Stop Killing Games campaign?
Yeah.
He mentioned like 20 YouTubers that talked about the campaign, and we were not in it. And I know that, I understand. And he even says, I'm going to leave people out. I'm really sorry. And I'm like, I know you're going to leave people out, but fucking come on, man. We're right there, man. You mentioned Spawn Wave. Maybe I didn't mention it in a main channel video. I could have sworn that I did.
You must have.
I have a video about the legality of emulation. And I'm almost positive I mentioned that in that video. But his video is talking about how he's basically at the end of his rope here, working on this thing. And the main pain point is that there's not enough eyes on the project.
Right.
So go if you live in the EU specifically. What is it? StopKillingGames.com or something?
I think so.
Google Stop Killing Games and sign the petition. Did they get 1 million signatures? They're not even close. I think they're at like 500,000. So they definitely need more. And that's only like part of the problem. Like the signatures can only do so much. They need actual
legislation, and
unfortunately nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Clunky says, Bob, do you think it's worth it to pick up a Lenovo Legion Go if I don't have a Windows handheld yet? A lot in my area secondhand are around $300.
Whoa, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I was about to say no, wait for the 2, but $300.
Yeah, I might as well.
Anyway, YouTube is 1440. Okay. Well, we solved that issue.
Yeah.
It's okay, Bob. You'll always be in like 3 Linus Tech Tips videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. And they're not. I don't think they're even Linus Tech Tips videos. I think that they're just.
They're like the other channels.
I don't think Linus has ever uttered the word WULFF Den. It's other people on like the side channels. It has 500 million citizens. I'm sure 1 million of those care about not killing games. Oh, you're talking about the EU?
Yeah.
Hellraiser, thanks for the prime. Love you, Wolfie Poo. Thanks, man. Thanks for calling me that. Anything from YouTube that I missed? No. I'm watching you guys in the shower, and you even had enough time to put a little emoji there. That's it.
I've gotten like targeted ads for like phone holders in the shower. You put your phone in, you can watch a video.
Phone is the time for phone is showering is meditation time.
Right.
You got to raw dog the shower.
Yes. However,
okay.
If I'm watching like the Hasbro reveals of like the latest Black Series figures, and I don't want to miss one.
Okay.
But I do have to take a shower.
I understand.
Like, I have left it outside the shower with the volume up so I can hear. They're not the same.
I did listen to something in the shower the other day. I was watching a TikTok, and there was a really long one that was about like a skate park being shut down in Vancouver or some shit. And I was like, this is interesting. And I hopped in the shower and left it on. And in the middle of it, I was like, why do I give a fuck about a skate park in Vancouver? And I shut it off in the middle of it.
I do know people, and I've seen this. They have like Bluetooth or waterproof Bluetooth speakers that they bring into the shower so that they can keep listening to like a podcast or music or whatever. But even that, like,
just leave it outside the shower.
Yeah. Or like, but I'm with you. Like I raw dog the shower.
Yeah. I was enthralled with a Twitch stream yesterday that was Dan Gleesing, who was the first like Big Brother winner. He's a Twitch streamer.
Okay.
His like child lost their iPad.
Oh boy.
And they did the Find My and tracked it down.
Uh-huh.
And it was him in this random neighborhood knocking on doors trying to get the iPad.
Yeah.
And he did eventually get the iPad. So the stream was mostly just the ceiling of his car because he didn't want to show anything. But I was riveted by him trying to get this iPad back. Speaking about TikTok, how many Labubu's are you guys getting? I got too many Labubu videos on TikTok. I haven't seen a single Labubu video. I saw a couple of lines from Pop Mart or whatever the fuck place is called. But that's as far as my Labubu TikTok has gotten.
No. I mean, I'm only on TikTok to upload our videos.
I do watch a significant amount of TikTok, but
I don't.
That's not what my TikTok looks like. It's usually just videos of chihuahuas doing.
No, it's just our videos. And if you want to know why our the WULFF Den Podcast suggested algorithm is all like lady wrestlers, is because I go watch Kathy Kelly's TikTok.
Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah. You know what I get? I get the Nino warning. You ever seen that?
No.
It's like a British girl. I guess she goes like clubbing or something.
Right.
And she just goes out in public and yells, Nino, warning, I'm outside tonight, guys. You better hide your minge. Hide your girlfriends, because I'm out here and I'm fucking out here. And that's every TikTok.
Okay.
And I just got a text. Nino from Hannah. She knows.
Yeah.
And I like those, and I follow her, and I like everyone because I think it's very funny.
Yeah.
And my favorite one is when she was in the airport in her little airport outfit, and the second she started Nino, a guy walked in the frame, got scared, and walked out.
I mean, that's just.
And then another person behind her was like, "Oh my god, it's the Nino girl! I got to get a picture of the Nino girl."
I mean, that's just for people of a certain age, that's just trigger happy TV.
Yes.
Cell phone going off and like a quiet.
Yes, it's literally that. Yeah. Yes. As a couple of TikTok lores that I've been to. Yeah. That's one of my favorites. Oh, and then also my TikTok feed is our own videos, and whenever that happens, I go ugh, and I like it, and I turn the volume down and throw my phone because I don't want to watch it, but I don't want to leave.
Right.
I want to give it.
You gotta get the whole
Yeah. I don't want to ruin the retention time, so I just let it run. But that's a good reason for me to stop. It's a good way for me to get off of TikTok.
Yeah.
Anyway. Jokes aside, love everyone. Have a good night. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for making fun of your... that you're not the one who was in the shower. Not gaming related, but is there a way to use one mouse on two separate laptops at once? At once?
Yeah, they sell programs, and like I think some mice have it built in where like you can. Well, not at once. It's like you gotta like transfer over.
That's what I'm
confused by.
Some mice will let you hit a button and it'll switch between two computers. I have KVMs built into my monitors that allow me to automatically, when I close one computer down and turn on another one, my mouse and keyboard just switch over. If you want to do it at once, like a dual screen. Okay, so yeah, that Travicon mentions Logitech.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
there are programs that let you just move the mouse over to a different screen, and it will just move to a completely different computer. So there are things like. Anyway, I use a Windows 10 laptop for videos and an 11 for gaming. Yeah, there are programs that allow you to move the mouse seamlessly between two. Anyway, I mean, I'm done. Oh, and YouTube just crashed on my computer. So we're done.
So we're done.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for chatting with us. As always, the WULFF Den Podcast is every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/WULFFDEN and youtube.com/WULFF Den Podcast. If you didn't make the show for any reason at all, we always put the archive version up over on youtube.com/WULFF Den Podcast, so you can go and check us out over there on demand whenever you want. If you prefer to listen to us rather than watch us, you can do that as well, because we're also an audio podcast on any and every podcast service, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Podcasts, Audible.com, Pocket Cast. The list goes on. But no matter where you get the show from, folks, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us, because that helps us with placement on all of those respective platforms.
Underscore mentions Synergy. That's the app that I was thinking of that allows you to move the mouse between two computers. We'll see some of you at Too Many Games this weekend.
Yes.
So if you're in the Philadelphia area, come to that. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in a video on Thursday. I don't know if I'll be streaming that night, but I'll try to. Go watch AJ now. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you're here on the live, thanks for dealing with all of our technical difficulties. Is this the button for goodbye? Goodbye.
Bye.